What's up, Bible lovers? It's Brandon here. It is now May the 4th, 2021. I'm surviving all right. I hope y'all are doing good. Thanks for being here with me to discuss our latest offering from the book of Genesis, which was today was Genesis 9:1 through 9:29, the aftermath of the great flood that wiped out all the things that breathe on the earth, the new covenant established between God and Moses' sons, and the wives too. I mean, I don't see they're part of it, I guess. Um, yeah, so God lays down some rules about eating animals and animals being scared of you. There's a part, and actually, one of my editors and I went back and forth on it a little bit. I'm curious what your opinion might be. If you read there in 9:5 through 9:8, when God says that, if you kill another, then you too will die by the sword. Oh, let me turn my light on here. Is that better? Oh, hold on, I gotta. Okay, yeah. So if you kill another human, then you too will die by the sword. Now, I see a lot of this stuff as kind of justification for a lot of what ended up going on down the road. So, you know, the way I read the passage is that it was a justification for an army, for a military type caste, people who had decided to live by the sword and therefore would be more apt to die by the sword. Um, my editor saw it as a prohibition against murder. I don't know. That's why we interpret this stuff, or why people interpret this stuff. The rainbow, the covenant, all this stuff. He'll never kill everybody on planet Earth again. So that's encouraging, to say the least. Of course, Noah plants a vineyard, grows the grapes, makes some wine, gets messed up, passes out naked. Ham comes in, sees his dick, goes and tells his brothers. His brothers, are pretty much just like, yeah, so what, man? And then they go in and they cover their nude, drunken father. Now, when Noah wakes up, he's furious at Ham, and he curses him and his descendants. So, and this is where the curse of Ham comes from. Now, a couple of things to note here, because I ended up I basically, in the Bible, especially since I started coloring it, I just have people of every color, complexion, and stuff like that. It's more fun and more inclusive of, if this is the way I see it, is if this is the group of people who go on to people the earth, then they should have a diversity of how they look. So, however, there is this notion of the curse of Ham, and unfortunately, a lot of talk about the curse of Ham was used by Southern Christians to justify slavery. Basically, that God had deigned that Ham, who apparently was black. I mean, I have him pretty dark skinned in the Bible, in my cartoon, in the story of God, but there's nothing that really indicates that. I mean, Ham's descendants, the Cushites, settled south of Egypt, Ethiopic peoples, and but specifically, God says, "Cursed be Canaan." Obviously, Canaan being the Levant. That's not really, it's not known to be where, quote unquote, black people come from. And I say quote unquote because that's really a kind of, I mean, anthropologists would call it folk taxonomy, which is to say dividing people based on their complexions is, kind of folksy, not really scientific. So anyway, the point is that the curse of Ham, which was also used in the Mormon church to justify into the 1970s not allowing people of color, black people specifically, into the church, into the priesthood, and it's all based on this curse. But really, the way I see this, like I said, a lot of what I see in the Old Testament is justification for what goes on in the future. And, a lot of that has to do with a lot of conquest and a lot of killing. So, kind of what I see is that, it seems like the text is constantly setting up the tribe of Abraham to go to Canaan and seize what lands they want, seize what lands they need because they're entitled to it. And, the Canaanites are cursed and God justified it. So I see the curse of Ham being more a justification for the atrocities that occurred in Canaan during that time period, where Abraham's people were spreading, more so than anything to do with, oh, God cursed a certain skin type, or, you can't even say region at this point because they're all from the same place. They're all the same family. So, yeah, that's just my take on it. And, honestly, in retrospect, and especially after listening to some lectures on the subject, I almost regret having myself made Ham and Japheth and what's the other dude's name? The hell's the other guy? Ham, Japheth, and Shem. Uh, you know, Black, brown, and pink, because as it almost lends itself to that theory that was later used to justify slavery. But slavery sucks. It's not fucking cool, and God's wrong about slaves. He just is, because it's not. It's evil, honestly, and for a guy who tripped out on all the evil in the world, and then Noah swings around and curses his son's descendants to be slaves just because he saw his dick when Noah's the one passing out naked in the tent with no door. I mean, come on, man. It's kind of crazy. It's also real funny to, if you have time to waste, to check out some like evangelical sermons based on this part of the story, because they really got to twist themselves into pretzels over this one, and so it's kind of fun. But yeah, that's the aftermath of the flood: a new covenant, some wine, and an exposed penis, and cursing. The father of a third of who would go on to become humanity. Fun stuff. So, hey, thanks for being here. Thanks for your support. If you can, share this. I know I'm trying to reach a wider audience, and that's pretty tough. I appreciate y'all being here. But if you know anybody who might be into this stuff, then please. And to my friend, Sean Rothstein, who I ran into the other day, the Reverend, nice to talk to you. And I really would appreciate your input on this stuff, because I know you're a big fan of the Old Testament, or maybe not a fan, but at least a student of it. So also wanted to say thanks to Walker for pointing out that, this is important. And I'm going to lengthen the video for a minute here. But Walker, one of our Patreon subscribers, pointed out that in the timeline, the cartoons appear a little bit blurry. I did some reading on the subject, and apparently that's a problem for Patreon cartoonists. I will say that if you click the image in the timeline, it springs out, and it actually springs out into a higher resolution than, I would actually have it be a little bit lower, because things are just a little bit too crisp. But if you click from the timeline, it opens it up. And I'm not sure how it works on mobile, because this is my cell phone. When I lost my job during COVID, I had to turn in my company phone, and since I had a company phone, I replaced my old smartphone with this guy. But once I turned it in, I just kind of fell in love with this little flippy phone. It's not as distracting. I end up seeing more stuff when I'm around, waiting in lines or something like that. So, I recommend these. If you, like me, have like ADHD, and you want to be a little bit. Oh, Well, that's my mom calling, so I'll catch y'all next time, and y'all take it easy.